and I will go over it decently in depth, but I won't. If it's a long game, I'm definitely not watching the whole thing at slow speed. And I mean, I don't want to only do that, so if I get too many, I will probably tell you we'll do it another day or something, but that's why we're going to go over this replay for Dr. Dabson. It's English versus French. So, I think Dabson's a decent rating, so I'm pretty sure his early build order is going to be fine. Timed that house perfectly, by the way. I like to do it as just a kind of incentive to maybe, well, stick around a little bit, especially if you're not sure why you lose some games. So, obviously, I'm not going to slow walk Vix. This is just the beginning, very generic stuff. It's going Council Hall with 4 villagers, so I'm assuming this is going to be for a longbow rush. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Death Note. I go 2 scout almost anyways with English, just because I like to get the extra sheep if I can. Especially on Dry Arabia, actually. Dry Arabia is very, like... The sheep are so random. Oh, don't tell me you lose this. Oh, now that hurts my soul. Right there, losing that. That's big. That's really big. You have no way to get sheep now. You have 3 sheep. So, your first big mistake was that right there. Your second one is not making another scout. I would make another scout if I were you. And I think you might have a little too much on wood. This is a problem I had when playing English, is I put too much on wood. Because you're struggling for food to get constant villager production and that, at least I think. I guess it depends on what your strategy is. But I feel like you can take some off wood and put them on food, unless you're going for a ram timing. Which typically nowadays I wouldn't recommend. I would just use towers to deny resources. I'm a little surprised. Now this is the scary part, and this is why you should have remade your scout, by the way, is you are so in the dark to what your opponent's doing. So you're playing kind of scared right now. Because, I mean, it is scary to not know what your opponent's doing. You made a bunch of longbows and spears, but it doesn't look like you're planning on pressuring since you're going on farms. At least I'm guessing you're not. You're also making a defensive tower. So I think you're making a few mistakes here. The first mistake is, I don't think you should be making this tower here. These units could have moved out sooner. I think once you have 2 or 3 spears, you should be fine to move out. And then you can make a forward tower instead of building a tower here. I understand you're doing this because of raids, but I think you can actually wall this wood line for about the same price as this tower. I don't think there's a way for me to test, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure walling from this wood line to here would be cheaper or the same price as this tower. Which would technically provide you better value because it keeps these safe right here. Because then you can take these hunts and you know we can't raid from here. At least that's what I would have done rather than the tower. But I think it's the same price or cheaper, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little cheaper. Not like it's that much. But I would say your next biggest mistake is you made a ton of units, and you've never moved out of on the map yet. Like, these longbows are kind of pointless. I'm like, now you're moving out, but this is a very late move out. I feel like at this point the French player has seen no pressure. It's probably in a good spot eco-wise. Good pikeman placement though. My game didn't just crash. Okay, no. And yeah, I mean, right now I'm not even sure if you should be moving out, and this could be a suicide push, and there's a couple reasons why this could be just you're going to lose push. Not saying that's the case, because obviously we know the replay goes on for a bit longer, but if your opponent had like just a shit ton of archers right here, and he's watching your army come this whole way, this army dies, and you're not going to do any damage. That's why a scout's very important, and why if you ever lose your initial scout, in my opinion, you should remake it. It's just such a critical resource. Because then you can also scout your opponents, not only what military they have, but also potential weaknesses, and whether you need to pull back or whatnot. So we'll fast forward here. I do agree with this, adding in farms as you go. I disagree with the no villager, though. Like I said, you should be doing a forward tower with English always, if you're going to do this kind of pressure. Because it gives you that 25% attack buff, and you can potentially deny resources with it if you gather a couple on stone to get the arrow slits. Good on your opponent to do this. Obviously, when you see this, hopefully you should be re-rallying back home. And you should be pushing a little bit more. I don't know why you're just attacking this. You should be bouncing back here. This is kind of where a scout would be super important, as you could kind of see other weaknesses, because your opponent doesn't care about this. It's going to take you 5 years before you destroy that with longbows. What are your upgrades? Okay, good for getting that. You might have wanted to get Undermesh over the armor upgrade, because he should have archers with this. I'd be very surprised if he didn't have archers. And archers and that armor upgrade will help you keep these spears alive. Because yeah, see, he's got not that many archers. You have 8 more archers, so you just got to focus these down, keep your spearmen alive. Like, yeah, right here, bad micro, right? You should pull these back immediately, because his archers are just going to focus fire those. Which then allows this to happen. And the villagers killed your ram. The ram finishing here wasn't the most important thing. You should also have a second barracks with this pressure, because you want to be pumping out these spearmen right now. He has a good amount of knights, and you only have 5 spears. These spears they may be full health, but it's not going to take much to kill them. And he can probably wipe your army right now if he decided to commit. Oh, wow. Okay, here comes 7 more spears. Yeah, those need to get there ASAP. And then another thing is, I mean, I guess this isn't the worst thing to do, but I think there's better things to hit with this ram. Like his archery ranges or anything but this, because this has a lot of health, and one ram's going to take forever to destroy it. And then, as Huge Guy says, you are floating a bit of resources here. Just because you don't have enough production, or you're actually not making anything, so maybe you're deciding to go castle here. You should win this fight easy. You just got to pull back these spears. I mean, at this point, it kind of looks like you're saving for castle, which I don't disagree with. But you need more production buildings, which you can get, I guess, after you age. But where'd you spend your food just now? Oh, I guess on villagers. Also, something you could be doing here, you can actually be pulling these back if you want to do. You could put your archers here, and you can snipe these 3 villagers. This tower is giving you vision, and you can snipe these. You can snipe 4 villagers right now. Up to 4. It depends how he reacts. Hopefully you pull that ram back. You should be focusing the archers, have these up. This is dead. There's not much you can do about it. Just got to accept it. I'm guessing you right-clicked instead of A-moved. I know that pain. So just to put you in perspective here a little bit, with how aggressive you're being here, if you weren't saving for castle right now, and you had invested all those into units and production buildings, you would have smashed this army, and you would have won the game. Most likely. I shouldn't say that 100%, but you would have been in a... If you had all these resources into units, you would have been in a very, very good position. Because you would have smashed that army. But now your opponent's in castle, you're aging. Okay, I don't think you need 3 archery ranges here, but a couple. I think you would have killed him for sure, though, so let's fast forward a bit. You have a lot on stone. I don't think you need this much on stone. And no, frankly, I do agree with Follow Death Knight. I don't really like ram pushes nowadays with English. I think it's better to invest all those rams into towers if you're going to try to do that, and just try to deny resources. Getting villager kills and denying resources is more important. This is a very weird castle. What are you hoping to achieve with this castle? It doesn't defend this sacred site if that was your plan, and it doesn't really pressure your opponent. Because right here, like, yeah, I mean, it bothers him if he tries to go straight across the middle of the map, but he can just go this way. You can just go around a little bit, and this keep isn't going to do anything. So this is just kind of a waste of a keep, in my opinion. You could have put this, I mean, you can't now because you don't have army, but if you had your army, you could have tried putting it here. But otherwise, this probably should have been more defensive, or in a spot like maybe right here to keep these gold safe. Maybe even here to protect us a woodline, gold, and even a hunt here. A lot of better spots you could have put that in, I think, than right here. This is just kind of pointless. It's not going to achieve much. And then, yep, that's going to hurt. Hey, what's up, Mr. Vipey? Saw that you finally changed your name. And you have your army forward, but again, it's not really accomplishing much. I mean, the one nice thing is about building this, am I rank 100 right now? I have been winning today. Like, these units aren't really doing anything. These spearmen would be almost better defensively, because then these knights would be taken care of, or you could defend them. Crossbows, I don't disagree with him. Yeah, I got back to top 200 finally. I think my practice is paying off a bit, so that's nice. And then, yeah, this is a waste of a ram. This isn't going to accomplish anything. You have a lot of wood. I mean, at this point, making these rams you should not have done. I agree with the Springolds. With all that extra wood you have, what's actually crazy is you just spent like 1,500 wood and you still have 1,000 in the bank. You should be transferring some off of wood and putting them on farms. Farms are very important for English, because you're starting to lack food a bit, and with more farms, you'd be just fine. And then, yep, just losing a bunch of villagers. You just lost probably 8. You definitely needed a group of... You needed to deal with these some way. Oh, you're not reacting either. Oof. That's painful. You're focusing too much on this attack, and you're just losing, of course, this. Obviously, walls would be very useful here. You know, wall line here, walls here. You don't even have to invest much into them. But yeah, at this point, those are a lot of your mistakes that you made this game. Definitely the lack of walling hurt too. And you just died to raids. Like, these raids just demolish you. You're at 38 villagers. I don't think there's too much else we have to watch. I think we went over everything.